Nice to meet you. Now, did you find our office okay? Yeah. This is your first time being here, right? Okay, good. Well, how's the weather outside? Is it still hot? How do you feel about the heat? No, me neither. I can't stand it. Okay, so before we get into everything, I'm gonna read you a client acknowledgement form. So it's basically just going over all of our confidentiality rules. So Durham College Counseling Services is a free voluntary program that provides individuals with one-to-one personal support from a counselor in training who is currently studying in the social service worker program. If you agree to participate in this service, we commit to do our best to try and assist you in working towards any goals that you identify. However, please understand that while most individuals do benefit from our service, there are factors we cannot control and therefore we can't guarantee your circumstances will improve. The length of involvement in this service is your decision, so you can come as long as we want or as short as you want, it's up to you. We'll commit to continue working with you as long as you feel it's being helpful. In addition, your involvement and the information shared with your counselor in training is confidential, meaning that your counselor in training will protect your personal information in all cases except the following. So the first one is a release of information has been signed by you, allowing your personal information to be shared with a specific person or an agency or an organization. Or two, that information or a counselor in training is legally subpoenaed to the court. And three, that you are suspected of being at risk of harming yourself or another person. And lastly, any situation of suspected child abuse, neglect, domestic violence, all that kind of thing will be reported to CAS. So if you sign this, that's just saying that you understand and agree to everything. So do you have any questions, first of all? No? Okay. So if you could sign and date. Sorry, right at the bottom. Thank you. Okay. So what brings you in today?
My husband feels that I have a drug problem, and he's telling me that I need to come here, or he's going to leave me because he can't deal with it.
So how do you feel about being here, honestly?
I don't feel like I need to be here. Okay. I just think he's being stupid about the whole situation.
Okay. So how long has your drug problem been going on for? Like, can you go into a bit more detail about it?
Okay. So it's been about 5 months or so. Okay. But what happened was, one day I was driving home from work, and I was making a left-hand turn up at Cisco and Taunton, and I was clearing the intersection to make my turn, as this crazy driver decided to go through a freaking red light, doing 90 in a 60 zone, and spun my car around, and I don't know what happened, but the way I hit and I spun, like something happened to my back, and I smashed my head off like the side of the window, and broke the window. It was just a really bad accident. And so when I was taken to the hospital, they did tests and everything and saw that something happened to the nerves in my back. Okay. And they prescribed me, the doctor there prescribed me morphine pills to help with the pain. Okay. The pain was unbearable. Yeah. Yeah, so that's what happened.
Okay, so you said that was about 5 months ago? So it's still pretty fresh. Yeah. So you said it was the nerves in your back? Do you know exactly your injuries or no?
No, I just know that the nerves in my back, and that later, I just found out like last week that I had a concussion, but apparently when the doctors were doing the test at the hospital, they forgot to, it didn't show up in the test, or they didn't come across it. So
yeah, it's unbelievable sometimes that doctors, like, that's your job, right?
Yeah,
how do you miss that kind of thing?
And I've been suffering, and I don't know how much more I can deal with everything that's happening. It's all way too much. Like, I mean, I still have back pain, unbelievable. Okay. Like, sometimes I can't even move. It just hurts, and I just want to crawl on me and just lay there.
Yeah. So what are some of your feelings around what happened?
I'm totally angry.
Angry. Would you say that anger is like the most overwhelming feeling that you have?
It is.
And probably a bit of frustration, or a lot of frustration?
I would have to agree, definitely.
Okay.
I'm angry, I'm frustrated.
Okay.
That could have all been avoided if she would have stopped at a red light.
Exactly, that's true.
And now I've been suffering for 5 months. I can't work because I'm in so much pain. Like I can hardly sometimes get out of bed.
Yeah.
Like my whole life has been disrupted. And my husband clearly doesn't seem to understand. He just thinks I have a drug problem and that I need help.
So what do you think makes him think that you have a drug problem?
I think maybe it's because I still am taking the medication after so long. Like I realized 5 months.
It's still fairly fresh.
Yeah, but I mean at the same time, you would think something because I've been just relaxing. I haven't been doing much because I can't. I would think that some of the pain, like some of it might have started to heal.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it doesn't. Constant pain.
Okay. Now I just have a question about the accident. Who was in the accident with you?
Just myself.
Just yourself?
Like I said, I was on my way home from work.
Okay. Now how soon after did your husband find out about it?
It was after the ambulance came and took me to the hospital and did some tests.
Okay.
So it was probably like an hour or two after.
Okay. So he's like well aware of your injuries that were caused. Okay. So now you think that, is it just that your husband believes that you have an issue, or is there anybody else?
Just my husband.
Okay. So how are things going between you and your husband, relationship-wise?
Not well.
No.
Because the way I feel is, I think, because I wasn't able to get out all the frustration and anger from the car accident, it definitely put a strain on our relationship. It's like if he says something to me, like I get so irritated, or if he tries to talk about it or anything that I connect the accident to, like I just lose it. Like I'm just irritated. Like someone could just come up and say, "Hi, how are you?" And if I'm in that state, I lose it. Like I snap on it.
So I guess just to kind of tie everything back up. So you were in an accident 5 months ago, correct? And you sustained injuries to the nerves in your back, and you were prescribed morphine pills. Okay. Were you on the morphine drip while you were in the hospital at all?
No.
No, just the pills?
Just the pills.
Okay. Do you know how many a day you take?
2. 1 in the morning and 1 at night.
Okay. So you've been on the medication for about 5 months now?
Yes.
Okay. And you said that you're still in a lot of pain?
Yes, I am.
Okay. And then you also said that your husband thinks that it still is an issue or it is a drug issue now because you're still taking it even 5 months after.
That's correct.
Okay. Okay. So you say that your relationship is really affected right now since the accident, correct? Is there any other aspects of your life that you think have been going downhill since the accident?
Well, my financial state, because I can't work. All I can do is lay in bed every single day since the accident. Do you know how frustrating that is? My life is like my bed. I can't go out. I can't shop. I can't do anything. I have to lay there. Like it's just so frustrating. Like I don't know what to do.
I can only imagine how frustrating it must be because I've never been in an accident like that, so there's no way that I can say that I know how frustrating it is because I don't.
Staring at the same 4 walls for 5 months now, not being able to do anything. I can't do things I enjoy. I used to like going for walks with my husband in the evening, walking our dog, going for bike rides. Like I like going to the gym. Can't do any of that because it involves moving.
Yeah.
And moving is not my best thing right now.
No, not at all. Is your husband working right now?
Yes, he is.
Okay. Where does he work?
He works at gym.
Okay, but the finances are still not 100%.
Well, Well, I mean, the finance, no, because I can't spend, like, I mean, we have a joint account, and, you know, we both put in so much a month, and
Yeah.
we split the cost of bills and everything like that. And for right now, we're okay, but eventually, if I can't seem to get better, I mean, what's going to happen? He's
Yeah.
going to have to pay for everything. I'm not going to have any, like, pardons. Like, that doesn't sit right with me. Like, that upsets me, the fact that I can't contribute to my own health.
Yeah, that's true. So what were you doing before the accident? What was your job?
I also worked at gym as well, so I had a pretty good job. I was working on the line.
Okay. Now, how long were you doing that for?
I've been doing it for 10 years.
Okay, so quite a while. Okay, so are you just on like a disability leave right now, or have you permanently quit?
I haven't permanently quit because I still hope that in some way I'll be able to go back to work eventually, because I can't do it. I can't stay home for
No. Okay.
Not happen. So right now I'm on an abstinence leave.
Okay. How does that make you feel?
Horrible. Like, I absolutely feel trapped. And it's a horrible feeling to not be able to do anything. Like I said before, I mean, contributing to the household, I mean, that's the thing I feel I need to do. You know, like, it's not fair for my husband to pay for everything.
Like after contributing for so long, it must feel probably bizarre all of a sudden to not be able to be a part of it.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm sorry, there's one other thing that I should have told you from the beginning.
Okay.
After this accident happened, I got the ticket and was blamed because I was in a left-hand turn. Okay. If you're making a left-hand turn, doesn't matter if it's not your fault. Even if a person goes through a red light, like in this situation, I got the ticket, I got the blame, so I have to deal with the court and all this, and I'm trying to fight it because it wasn't my fault. I was just trying to clear the intersection.
Yeah.
And this lady went through, like I said, 80 or 90. I mean, had to be.
Yeah.
In the 60s. So I'm trying to fight that right now. But I mean, that's a lot of stress on itself.
Oh, yeah.
Rather than my husband complaining at me and saying that I'm taking drugs. Like, I'm not a drug addict. I mean, he doesn't know what it's like because he's never been in the situation.
Yeah.
Where he's been in a serious car accident, and I mean, he can get up every day and go to work and do whatever he wants. He's got that. I don't.
Yeah. He doesn't understand how it feels.
Exactly.
What you're saying.
And it's so frustrating. And no matter how hard I try to explain to him and let him know, it just turns into a fight every time. I just don't know how to handle him now.
So it sounds like you're going through a lot of stress, for sure.
Absolutely.
So you have your financial stress right now. The relationship with your husband is not the greatest right now. The stress of the court case of you trying to fight the ticket, right?
Yeah.
So that is a lot of stress. Now, what kind of things do you usually do when you're feeling really overwhelmed and stressed? What do you find yourself doing?
Crying a lot because I can't do much else.
Yeah.
That's all I do. I can sit home for hours and just cry.
Now, do you have any activities that you do or anything at all that kind of calms you down?
I can read about a book. That's about it. I mean, I try to do the littlest movements possible, so reading a book doesn't take much effort. I do that. Or my dog cuddles with me. I mean, simple little things like that, to where I don't have to move as much.
So, by the sounds of it, you're saying basically back to the reason why you're here. Your husband believes that you have an addiction to these morphine pills, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So, we haven't discussed much about your doctor. Are you still seeing your doctor that prescribed you the medication?
No.
And why is that?
Well, because he was a doctor at the hospital, so he was just letting me emerge that night.
Okay.
So he gave me a couple refills for about a month. month and a half, I would say.
Okay.
Like they lasted me. And then after that, like I went to my doctor and I explained the situation and how much pain I was in, and she just didn't understand. And so I didn't know what to do. Like I wasn't able to control the pain. Like it was there constantly. So I have a friend who knows a friend who can get the morphine pills. So I've been getting them off from her.
Okay.
And not like a lot. Like I mean, just enough to get me through the day.
So how many are you taking a day? Would you say?
2, 1 in the morning and 1 in the evening. So 1 in the morning to hopefully get me through the day, and 1 at night to let me sleep.
Okay. Now, when your doctor originally prescribed them, how many did they prescribe for you to take each day?
In the beginning, they wanted me to take 3.
Okay.
Kind of like every 5 to 6 hours when needed, and I felt like I needed it.
Yeah.
All the time. So I mean, some days if the pain was really bad, I would take 4, but nothing over the extreme.
So the doctor would prescribe you to take 3 a day, but sometimes you would take 4. Now, did that cause you to go through your prescription quicker than you should have?
Maybe like a couple days because I wasn't taking them all the time. It's just depending on the day. If it was so bad, then I felt I needed to take another one.
Okay. So how many months now? You said the doctor gave you refills for about a month and a half.
Yes.
So this happened 5 months ago. So you've been getting them from a friend of a friend for 3.5 months. Okay. Now, do you know this person personally at all?
No.
No.
My friend said she's good friends with it, so
okay.
How we get.
So you don't know if this person is a doctor or if they are just a drug dealer. You're not sure?
No.
No. How do you feel about that? Have you ever thought about where they're getting the morphine pills from?
Well, no. All I thought about was the fact that I was getting the pills and they were helping.
Yeah, you didn't think of anything further, just that you're getting the pills and you have them.
That's all that mattered to me, was the fact that I was getting them and I was able to take them and they were helping me.
Just think about that for a minute, if you'd be able to. And how does that make you feel when you think of where these pills are coming from now? As opposed to when your doctor prescribes them, right? You know they're coming from a pharmacy. And now when you get them from a friend of a friend, you're not sure where they're coming from, right?
I guess it makes me feel a little uneasy and a little afraid because now that I think about it, I don't know if they're mixing the morphine pills or something else, you know?
Yeah.
Like I never really thought about it like that. I thought like, great, they're helping me.
Yeah.
I'm getting the help that I need.
Now, are there any physical or emotional kind of things that you get when you don't take the morphine pills? Like, just say you miss a dose at night or in the morning. Is there anything at all that happens?
Yeah, I get really anxious and I start to get sick immediately and I get more irritated, you know, like my husband tries to help me and I just hold out because there was this one morning when I went to reach for my pills and I noticed they were gone. My husband thought it would be a good idea to flush them down the toilet. He thought that I didn't need them anymore. That whole day I had to lay there in pain.
How long ago was this?
This was about a couple of weeks ago, maybe 2.5 to 3 weeks ago.
And how many pills do you think he flushed?
Oh, he had I just got a fresh stock of them. So he had to flush almost the whole bottle down.
And how soon after that did you get
I called my friend immediately, but she couldn't do anything until the next day. And so that day I had to suffer a lot of pain.
Now, what emotions did you feel that day when you weren't able to have the morphine?
Towards him or just in general?
In general. It could be towards him, just
I was pissed. I couldn't believe that do that. Take them and flush them when he knows that I need them. Absolutely ridiculous. And we didn't talk for a couple days after that. When I think back to it, I even still get a little upset because he knows that I need them. Like, why would he flush them down the toilet?
Yeah.
And they're not cheap. You find them off.
Now, do you think that buying them off of somebody as opposed to getting them from the doctor, has that kind of had an impact on your financial situation? Because you said that your finances right now aren't as good as they used to be, correct?
Absolutely, I think. But I mean, in order to stop the pain, I need to have them.
Okay.
So, I mean, yeah, that also hurt my finances because, I'm the type of person, I stay there with paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
But since this accident and the fact that my doctor doesn't prescribe me them, I need to get them somehow, so they're not. So, that has a big factor in my finances.
Now, just if we could recap a little bit, it sounds to me like you don't think you have an issue at all, correct?
No, I don't.
But on the other hand, you're saying, when I did bring up a couple things, you were saying that it made you a little uneasy, correct? To not know where they're coming from. And you also mentioned how when you don't have them, you get anxious, you get frustrated and irritable, correct?
Yes, and I start to shake and my body just feels sick. My body knows that I need them because I'm in so much pain.
So is there anything else that you maybe have missed, or anything just about the story that you'd like to add? Because we're almost out of time. But just if there's anything at all to the story, or anything about your husband, or anything like that.
I guess I haven't told anyone, but I guess a little part of me is kind of worried that, well, for one, when I'm getting the pills, that there could be something else.
Mm-hmm.
Something else mixed in with them. And that maybe there is a little part of it that is worried that I may be infected. Because it does seem a little crazy to still use them after 5 months. Mm-hmm. But, I can't share that with him after the way he's acting. I can't just say, oh, by the way, honey, you were right, but
Because then you would almost feel like he won.
Yeah. And I think the way he's going about this, I think it's ridiculous, and that maybe he should come in here with me next time. I'd come back because I don't think the way he's handling this situation at all is proper at all.
That's another thing I was actually going to mention. What do you want to get out of counseling? Like, I know you don't particularly care to be here, but if you must be here, what would you like to come out of it?
I guess what I would like is to try to figure out if I can assist. Okay. There's a lot of factors about where I'm getting these pills from and taking them all the time, and clearly the doctor doesn't think I need them. Mm-hmm. That kind of worries me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm kind of now starting to worry about that.
Yeah.
Now that I think more of it and how we talked about it and it kind of brought up. So that has me a little worried because I'm not sure. So maybe to work through getting where I stand with all this and see if I do actually use a drug problem.
Okay.
And how I can fix it and work on that.
Well, that's definitely something that we can continue to work on. Now, you mentioned that you would maybe like your husband to come in for a session.
I would love that.
Yeah. So what do you think would come out of a session if your husband was here as well?
Maybe he'd get a little understanding from where I'm coming from, and maybe the situation could be reversed and I could understand what he's saying. Because I feel like he did marry me, so he must really care about.
Yeah, for sure. Now that I think that's a great idea because maybe if he comes in, as opposed to just having you guys together at home talking about it, it would most likely escalate to an argument. Is that correct? Yeah. Okay. So maybe if he does agree to come in, then I can kind of be the mediator, so he can say his side and you can say your side, and I can kind of do my perspective on both sides of it. So that sounds good. Do you think he'd like to come in?
I definitely think, because he forced me here, I definitely think he'd be willing to come.
Okay. Now, how often were you looking to come?
Well, I really particularly think. Well, when I first arrived, I thought, well, I don't need this place. This place is garbage, and I should probably maybe come once a month. But now that we've kind of talked and opened up a little bit of things, I feel maybe once a week, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
So that way I can hopefully figure things out, and it doesn't leave me time to like ponder back and forth whether I'm right or wrong, or who's right or wrong. You know, kind of keep a steady pace going with the sessions to work on things.
So it sounds like you'd like to have them more often, just so you have less time in between to kind of change your mind and be like, no, I don't need it.
If I do indeed have a drug problem, which I still don't think so, but I'm not 100% sure anymore like I was when I came in.
So do you think that some of the things we've talked about has opened your eyes to a different perspective, like maybe your husband's perspective a little bit?
Oh, most definitely. Yes.
Okay.
I think so for sure.
Okay. So how are you feeling now compared to when you first got here? Like I know you mentioned when you first got here, you said this place is garbage, I don't need it. And how do you really feel right now as you're getting ready to leave?
Okay, I kind of want to get back from how I said this place is garbage.
It's okay. It's understandable.
But I think in some way that this may be really good for me. Like I feel, I don't feel like 100%. Oh yeah, like I'm excited. Let's go to counseling.
Yeah,
I mean,
no.
You know, no. I still am iffy, but I'm not gonna like hate it. Like I'm gonna come. I'm gonna keep up. Okay. You know, I wanna.
So maybe between now and next week, if that's when you decide to come in, you can, if you feel comfortable discussing with your husband that you would like him to come in and talk about this issue. Do you think you'd also be able to you can either just do it in your head or do it like write in a journal or something like that, just your thoughts. Like you said that some of the things we've talked about have opened your eyes to a different perspective. If anything else like related to that comes up throughout the week, do you think you could write some of those things down? Yeah? Have you ever done any sort of like journaling or anything like that?
No.
But do you think that's something you could do? Okay.
And then did you want me to bring in what I wrote down?
Yeah,
and maybe
for sure. If you feel comfortable sharing it, yeah. Because like that way, rather than just doing in your head, you might forget like the next time, and there could be some really important key things that we could discuss further that you might forget if you don't write them down. So if you think that's something you could do, then that would be really good. Okay.
Well, thank you so much.
No problem. So just book an appointment on the way out. That would be great. And I will see you and hopefully your husband next week.
Yeah.
Okay. Have a nice day.